steps and give us wisdom. And we ask you, Father, to bless our county. And in Jesus' name we pray, amen. Looking at I just had to think about this. ACCA General Counsel Mayfielder posted this recently in the countyfamily.org. So that's ACCA's new platform to keep us informed, and I have not joined that yet. I don't know if any of you have.
I've been getting that email and stuff from them, but
I've tried to come up on it, it says it's for engineers, and the one that I pulled up,
you know, when last time we found that, had us to sign, wanted to sign in on it, but it wouldn't, their mind went to work, so I don't know what happened.
I'll be in my number tomorrow.
It reads, with the general election approaching, we have received several questions regarding the required first county commission organizational meetings following the election of new members to the commission. To provide everyone with updated information, I've attached a handout on the county commission organization meetings. The first required organizational meeting should be held on Wednesday, November the 16th, 2022. For those commissions that have newly elected members, please contact me if you have any questions. However, and I know there's not going to be any change, but you will be newly elected. So I guess by law we need to do that. And there's a organizational code, and it's 1131, and it's just showing that this meeting will be held on Wednesday, November the 16th. I guess we can name the time. Probably.
I can come on the 16th.
We can meet in case there's a declared emergency. And it does not prescribe what time the meeting should take place. But it says regular meeting times and locations must be posted in the courthouse, and the members can use the file with the request. So I will post something. What time of day would y'all like to do that on Wednesday the 16th?
3 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
What times does that work? Image to about 3?
4, 5, 4,
4? He's
Oh, I said 3 or 4. I'm good with that too.
2.
yeah. 4? Yeah. Well, you help me with that, Lisa, and we'll make sure we get that on. And then at that meeting, we need to decide what times we want to continue to meet. You have that, that's your time to decide if you want to do that. Do we have any kind of emergency things coming up that's on anybody's radar that needs to be done before that time? Okay. Mike McCormick asked to speak with you all concerning suddenly, and I think he has. You said your boss was with you?
Yeah,
It looks like your grandson.
if Crystal is coming, can we hold off till she gets here?
Do we know if Crystal's coming, right?
She was here a while ago.
Okay.
I think she's still here. She's planning on being one of those.
Okay. Do y'all want her out here? You want to ask her to come?
We've got these, do we need to discuss anything about the college?
Yeah.
I'm putting a resolution on the table, I'll see if Brad Pitt's here.
Okay.
It's a third department, and it should be you.
Just text her and see if she'll come.
We'll wait till she gets
Okay.
in.
Appreciate it.
All right. Going forward, I think the first thing that we need need to consider putting on the agenda for the 16th. Would be, probably new business and make a decision on when you guys want to have your meetings going for the next 2 years.
Yeah, can we change it back to Monday? That's my suggestion, is just to move it back to Monday. That's fine with everybody.
Do that Monday?
Move it back to Monday.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
The one good thing about Tuesdays is we don't run into Monday holidays a lot. There's like 3 Monday holidays that you end up.
It's just
But
that
we may not have any of those anymore because we did away with some of them.
So we have other meetings, that's what's been like.
Oh, yeah, I can't get to the city,
Running crazy.
definitely,
You got the fire association meeting on that Tuesday, and you have the Republican meeting. And I think the city has their,
but one thing I could do is,
just got too many meetings on Tuesdays. It's like running crazy.
Y'all may want to check with your,
Farmers Federation.
you know, one on Thursday.
well,
We need to vote on that anyway, I want everybody to think about it.
yeah, you might want to consider, I know, our county attorney could not meet Mondays at one time, he asked us to move it. So y'all might want to consider him.
I've talked with him, he can meet on Mondays night,
Okay.
yeah. Mondays is the day that I don't have my other business open.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we'll set put it on new business and we'll make a resolution and we'll word it in such a way that we'll leave it blank and let whoever makes the motion, make that motion adding Monday at a certain time and then the work sessions too.
Yeah.
So I think that would be one of the first things we need. And put that on new business because we'll have to fill in the blank. All right, going forward, Lisa, what do you have that needs to be voted on? Or you need a resolution for it?
Now, we have a resolution about the local assistance and travel consistency fund, which is some ARPA money that we're going to be awarded. Other than the other 2.8 that we've already gotten, we're going to get $474,366.26.
Is that from the state or the
It
feds?
is the state, yes. It's
How much
the
additional
state.
money you gonna get?
$474,366.26. I do have a resolution from the ACCA that they suggested that we agree that we're going to put in for this money. From what I understand, once I go onto the website, the Treasury's website, and apply for this, we should have it very, very soon. After that, within like a week or so. So,
From what I understand, you can't use that for revenue replacement, so it's gonna be a whole lot stricter than what we got now. Right?
I understood that it was just as simple as revenue replacement, but now I can look into it some more.
I got the ACCA sent out something that said that it wasn't gonna be, you couldn't use it for revenue replacement. Just check on it.
Well, let me ask you, so that's how you voted on, right?
Yes, sir.
So we want this on new business then?
I mean, we want the money no matter
Yeah.
what restrictions are. We can work that out.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and vote to take the money.
All right, so,
Put it on the-
consent agenda or?
Yeah, consent agenda.
Consent agenda.
Just find out what you can find out.
Okay.
Until we get it fixed.
All right, ARPA money consent agenda. Next.
I did receive a funding agreement from Roger Goodwin, who assists the IAC with the water projects that they have. I will send you out a copy of all this. It's about a 12-page document, but it's basically just the agreement between the county and the water authority.
It's just what we got already got.
I mean, yeah, I thought I sent it to you. I wasn't sure, but I
It
did.
was way in there.
Yeah, I did get her main copy of it for you also, but I I may have already emailed it to you also. I just got it yesterday, so, this is just the agreement, and I also sent this to our attorney so that he can hear this is, but I think it's a pretty just standard agreement with the
Well-
city.
Will you have him to look to make sure there's not an issue with you being on this document?
If it's-
Just make sure, because I don't you wind up with one gunner.
Consent agenda, okay with you guys on that?
Yep.
All right.
Let's put it on new business because I want to hear from the attorney before we vote on
All right.
Okay. Good.
All it takes is one of y'all to want it on new business.
Anyway, good way it goes.
Right. Well, I mean, I just,
Yeah.
now's the
Yeah.
time to say it. You got something else, Miss Lisa?
I do not. The only thing else that I can think of is if, our attorney wants to discuss the SRO memorandum that we received back from the school board. If that's,
Would y'all like to put the SRO,
On new business.
on new business? Have you-
Can you highlight the changes we'll know? I mean, have you gone through it and seen the difference?
no, ma'am, I have not. We just got this back in yesterday, and, they did not, like he did, he had it where you had the line items that he was changing highlighted and had his comments off to the side. They did not do that with theirs. This is straight.
it. They also left off the exhibit A page, which was the money, which was the big part of it. So when you got that page, I don't see how we're doing that.
Y'all want to put this on new business? Just in case.
Did he send it or did he leave it off?
This is exactly the way he sent it. I got the same email that you did from Ryan.
There was no, hey, how you doing? Nothing. It was just this.
It's a document. And then that, I got it just like you guys did, exactly the same way, just with nothing else, just the document. And I just printed it out, so.
Justin said he's looked over the first half of it and that he will, have, that he will be able to review it before.
Let's put it on new business, but the contract's about the money portion of the contract is usually.
Okay. SR agreement, put a question mark, new business.
It says terms of payment on page 2.
So I ain't had a chance to read it.
On page 2, it has terms of payment.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I've read over it, but I haven't. I
Yeah.
thought they might have.
I ain't even read it, I forget.
All right, you got anything else? All right, y'all got any questions for Lisa concerning business? Our agenda.
How is our changeover to the Department of Revenue and Sales Tax going?
It's going fine right now. We've gotten all the documents back to them, and they're in the process of getting everything laid out for us as far as how to go on and get our reports and all that now.
What about grants? Have you had time to look at the DECA website or anything to see about it?
I've looked at the ADECA website. It seems like the grants that are open right now, they're eligible for them, all that's spoken for this time, they've all been awarded. It's just a timing thing, really, what those, and so I've been trying to go about once a week, go on the website to see what's available.
Someone needs to be dedicated to file those grants, even though you think we're not eligible for them. Sometimes we are. But we're not going to get them unless somebody's applying for them.
And calendar. Are we any closer to getting a calendar?
Sorry, I was going to, I was like, oh my God, I'm supposed to. Right, the annual calendar that we're putting together so that we start making a list of some of the contracts and things that we owe. I know that Krista's been looking at some of the contract files, to see when things are due for renewal. We've started a list of that to put on a calendar. And then I know, Mr. Owen had asked that we make a calendar of our schedules here in the office so that you guys can check to see our calendar and make sure that we're here if you need to talk to one of us.
And I think also, and include commissioners, if we're in classes,
Right.
when we're gonna be, what we're gonna be doing.
That's what I need to know. Who only, I know all of y'all need to be on the calendar, the shared calendar
goes through our email.
Right.
And I just will put, who's gonna be absent here, y'all's classes.
Then we can add stuff, if something's coming up and,
Anything else that's
Probably
needs to be on there.
include the department heads, but this, which I just announced it, this, board wants that you sent me out. We need to update this thing. Because this is, to me, this would be a big part of the calendar. John Doe is up next month. I might know that, but I haven't made 14 phone calls.
and on that calendar, we'll have our, meetings here that everybody will know, and also when the board meetings are throughout the county, whether it's the fire association, the hospital board, the library board, those issues.
You need to send this out, the list you sent me out. Y'all need to send this out to everybody, because some of these have been updated since 19, and some of them are not. So this, if you would send them to all the commissioners and Ryan, and everybody can look at their points, and get that thing right.
Yeah, that'd be great, and then I'll keep up with that, like, so we've got it on here, updated. The whole time I'll talk to y'all, like, hey, this person needs to be on here, so yeah, I agree with that. Stay on top of that.
Information should be shared with all the commission, not just the one.
Okay.
We should, we should be shared with people, because we're all aware.
All right.
You have a question?
Okay, yeah, how long do you think it takes to put that together?
Your calendar is gonna take a while, because I have to pull, I'm still trying to figure things out here.
Yeah.
As far as contracts, I'm gonna have to pull all the files out, the archive, to see which ones we still use, and I'll have started a list of it. Just a lot.
So I guess, let me say that, you get us involved in the calendar now. So whatever's on the calendar, and we add stuff, then that way, as we're moving along, we can help you more.
If you can get something started, then
Okay, yeah.
we can add to it.
Okay, I can have something going by the end of the week as far as like all of our connected emails and y'all guys will get.
Because really, through just like what you said, it's gonna take you 6 months to a year to get all of it. And then, so we understand that, but I think if we just get something started,
Okay.
so we can, start working in that way. I think what I did off is, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, start the county email.
Yeah, and, you even have that outlook, Laura, you gotta have a county email address.
I know, and I brought this to their attention before that I'm not getting it. But I'm gonna get with Crystal to create, I've never had a county email. And I don't understand why all of a sudden I just quit getting email.
Well, Crystal just got through doing a complete update of the whole system, and I think that's probably where you fell off at, is because it's.
I spoke with Ms. Hall on it. I created her one, and what I feel like has happened is that she's probably got blacklisted. And that happens periodically on specific email addresses. So she's gonna get with me, I've already got it set up, and I'll help her set her up on her phone.
Any other questions for Lisa? Chris?
On the issues that we've been working on with the sheriff's department, have you got anything from Jason to start putting that together so we can get that squared away? When do you say you might have that?
I got the same email that we did, that he said that the first step would be this, and the second step would be this, like what resolutions we need to pass. I have not received anything else from him on that.
Have you asked him?
No, I have not asked him.
I don't know, I've seen a couple things.
He's out of town right now.
Do you have something?
Yeah, I don't, it's not specifically for Lisa, but I'd like us to be able to review the open jobs like every June of every year. If you got a job that's been open over a year, I would like to start taking those off before we do our yearly budget. I mean, there's no use just keep funding stuff. I mean, I think Lee's had something been on there 2 or 3 years before. And let's start looking at it every year and bring it to the commission's attention and we can take some off. Instead of just continuously budgeting. I don't know if we get a resolution or I don't know about it.
A lot of times you set that up in the budget, prior to that year, if you find out which one it is, we'll put in their notes, these are something that we're gonna do, but you can do it in resolution, or you your budget out.
It's something you need to do before you put the budget together.
Everything needs to be, and I hope that next year's budget, that we need to clear understanding of what we're passing. As far as what department is, as far as the salaries and everything, we need a clear view. Because this last budget we passed, I'm still upset that we had no clue that this additional was added in.
I mean, there's no use keep funding a job if you're not going to fill it 2 or 3 years and stuff like that.
Do you want a resolution, or do you want to just make sure you try to remember that when, right before the budget starts?
That'd be a good thing to add in our calendar. So next June, we would never look at it.
I don't know, we need a resolution, can you jot that down in our notes for us, that we would like to be reminded for what, May, probably?
Mayor Gene, you know, and the calendar deal too needs to probably go out to our department.
I have to get a little bit, to figure out how to get everybody's calendars, like, our three, or in our office, we're, but, just to get everybody on there, then it'll, direct the email.
I sent the email you want to go to lead, or just throw my last one out there?
Go ahead and get yours.
I want a resolution to take my 3 salaries down in District 3. I don't know if it's going to be a 911 deal or it's going to be a commission deal.
I don't know what to tell you either. Is that a?
City email.
So we can just make a resolution, if you'll add that to yours.
Commissions.
Oh, it's
Yes.
Oh, email commission, okay, gotcha, thank you.
Did you ever get anything back from Jason?
We were working on it, and he, last Wednesday, he sent me an email, and he said he will come up with something that was out of town until today, so.
So we have the 16th, so it's really good to have something.
I'll probably touch base with him tomorrow or Thursday and see if he's got anything.
You want that on, new business, or?
Well, on the sirens, I had got a quote, minimum 3 at a time, because, you know, instead of just dropping the chainsaw, some of these things, and when they hit the ground, how they were literally exploding, and that, whatever that stuff's made out of. But, I've got the Dennis Braggs, and he said a minimum of 3. He said he could do 4, but a minimum of 3 at $450 a piece. However many you wanted to get taken down, and what he will do is he'll take them down, and if we want them set on a trailer, whatever, and then I figured, between, Fred or the engineer, we can take them over to the yard and take them apart, and, what we don't want, we'll throw in that big green dumpster, and what we do want, we'll keep, like the poles and stuff that could be used and stuff like that.
Alright, so,
So how much money, there's 2 in my district that's coming down. I talked to the mayor and to the chief of police, so that's 5, total of 5, right? You got 3?
I'm
Crystal, now in my district, the furthest one, and, so those are the only ones that come down, there's one in Pine Woods.
Pine Woods, they said they wanted theirs down, Gordon wanted to keep it, and yes, they wanted to keep it.
What about, they want it Muscadine?
They wanted to keep it,
They did?
I think so.
Okay, so the only one that will come down in my district is gonna be the one
Pine Woods.
at Piney Woods.
So they're gonna keep them maintained and running?
they'll have to,
So that's the issue, they're not working.
They have an agreement, I mean, they signed with the county.
We just don't have a way to enforce it.
let me ask you this, are those sirens on public land or private land?
Some of them's on both. Like in my district, 2 of them are volunteer fire departments and 1 in City Hall.
And both of them there close to fire department.
I know Piney Woods is at the
Piney
fire.
Woods and Frederick's is, and so is Muscadine, it's right there.
Gordon is too, right there.
So basically, they're gonna sign something saying that they're gonna be responsible.
Well, they've already signed, they signed something a long time ago.
Yes,
They
they,
took possession, when Steve, he had allowed to sign, and she sent us a copy of it, where
Yeah.
they took
responsibility.
responsibility of it a long time ago.
What Jason is working on, Ryan, is signing the equipment back to the commission.
Okay.
To be able to take them down.
When we mentioned this, when they come down, they don't make it, we're just gonna take our impact wrench and take the stuff off, the head off of it and just save the poles. Do you want us to set some of them over on the yard on a pallet or something?
I think, only 2 out of the 22 are working. I think the best thing to do would be just to ask Mel's communication if anything is salvageable out of it, and
You can do that?
I don't think we need to be involved in anything. We don't need to be involved in holding parts or nothing, because in a lawsuit, that's just gonna drag you into the lawsuit. If one of them is keeping theirs and wants the spare parts, they can come get them, but we don't need to be handing out spare parts, in my opinion. Because that just ties you up in the whole law when they start suing.
Well, we just know that we can't give the parts out.
Well, if they want them, they can get them when we take them down and do what they want to do. I'm saying, if we're involved in the maintenance,
Well, the people in my district, or the ones up in my district, they don't want parts or none of it, so.
let's see, that's mine. I got one fire department that wants a solar panel. Other than that, they won't go.
All right, so with the resolution,
Well, let's just change it from a resolution for me to a resolution for all of them that we need to take.
that's what I was going to suggest. But you're looking at $450 to take it down per.
So just come up with a number that y'all want to set aside and
Just
then.
divide mine, the ones that does and the ones that doesn't.
All right, but I do think this would be one you want Jason to write the resolution.
Right.
Put it on new business, is that good?
And I would like Jason to review what Swafford had designed too, to make sure
he has.
he's reviewed, he's
Yes,
okay
sir.
with it.
Yes.
Send it to
Okay.
us. Change from him.
Can we ask him, we'll just go on new business and ask him to make the resolution, and we understand the $450 piece, and we'll find out how many he's coming down, right?
Yeah.
If
I
y'all
know
will,
we're at 5, so.
let us know if you know any more. All right.
We need one more, then we'll get all 6 of it, 6 now.
Does that include this side over here? Everybody?
Did you want those quotes, Crystal, for the whole one, or?
Well, I would say that all the Apache place, the steel fabricator, and he gave my number to his crew, and I never heard back from them, so I'm not sure if they can be used in that capacity, or, he said that the only thing that they did was the,
Right.
yeah,
Trusses.
trusses, yes, trusses.
You
That's
got
what I thought.
local guys right here around that does the metal buildings like that. I know Robert Brown will have the list. You may want to reach out to him.
I'm kind of at a loss of what to do, which way to go. I think there's, several different options, and
The building, the shed, not a building. I mean,
Just a
it's,
pole.
well, it wasn't a pole barn. What it was is if you go right there at that building place on the right, the one at the front door where they park, that's like 10 foot, it's got a 10-foot clear on each side, and it goes up to 12 in the middle. For that one there, at the time I had the price, was, I think I added 5 foot to it. But that one right there, now I'm just gonna bring the sides down, so you can just drive through, the way we got it set up, you just drive through and put the light towers in it. But I think it was like $7,000 or $8,000. But I had told him I wanted to do the sides, but it won't start blowing in and on the side. So it might be that one of those, satellites, those, panels might work down there and have a light, set up a battery light down there or something, because there's no power on that end on the place, but if you're happy with one of those, they'll come out and put it up. All we got to do is just say if that's what you want. But it's right at the front door where United Green used to be, you know what it is?
Well, then you do, because this has been going on a while. Is that what you want, Crystal? You just.
I don't care what kind of structure it is, honest, I don't care. It does not matter to me one bit.
Yeah, they can call them and have them to come and.
I would take a pole barn, shed, it does not matter. I'm not an expert on that, so I would.
Well, I think if you get much bigger than a 30 by 30 or 30 by 35, you're gonna run out of room down there, because we're just so far off the line, and plus making that turn with it, so. I think we might have to do a little rubbing.
Once we figure out what
Okay. Yeah, I think McFish could have to quote on it. You have a problem with the color, it just needs to be green like it's filling, or you want it?
To blend back in together.
Okay.
Lee, you have anything?
Sent y'all an email this morning with updated work orders for the month. Just sort of trying to print all that out, just email it to you so you can see that. Update on public transportation. Already had 8 different riders. This will be the month of September. 8 different riders, total 63 trips, total 460 miles is what we carried. Next thing I have, Laura, this is up in your district. I was contacted by a Thomas Statham. He's got about, it's 1,050 foot worth of County Road 408 that runs through his property, dead ends at the backside of his property. We don't maintain it, it's growing up with pine trees. He's just basically wanting to build his house where the right of way is. He's just asking if we could clean that up, close that section.
And the piece on out.
You got a small portion of it that James owns, it straddles their property line. So James owns would own a little bit on one side of it. So I have to talk to the 2 of them, but
Okay, just send them both the letter.
that's it. But we need to schedule a public hearing.
Who's on the other part?
Thomas Statham, S-T-A-T-H-A.
Stedman.
Statham.
You know Thomas Stedman, that involves all that property, he owns, that property that joins Monkey Owens.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's it. That's what we're talking about.
So that James Owens is not the James Owens you're thinking about, that's Monkey Owens.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can call him Monkey Owens or not.
Well,
Yes, but that's it.
that sounds a lot of fun right there.
No, it is.
That
Yeah,
opens
it's
a can of
There's gonna be
worms.
so much fun.
That opens up that big can
The
of worms.
sheriff's gonna have to ride with me a few times.
All right.
But he says that was pretty much it.
I mean,
That goes back to that used to be a road. running
it's a very, it was a big war. It got very ugly.
That cedar trees on it, I remember cedar trees on the side of the road or something.
Oh, it's still good. It's good up right now. You can't.
That was about 5, 6 years ago.
That-
But he don't want us to clean it up, though.
No.
You said clean it up, I was just like,
It has pine trees, I mean, big pine trees.
But Stedham wants to.
Well, and I will say this too, so what Stedham actually asked for, so there's 1,050 foot of it that we don't maintain. The last 600 foot of it strictly runs through Stedham's property. And that's what he called and asked for. But when I went out there and looked at it, I said, well, we might as well close it back to where we maintain it to, which is 1,000 foot. So I guess if Monkey's don't want his portion of it closed, there's still a 600 foot section of it that's just Stedham's property that is really what he asked to close.
and if it's property joins it, then if we close the whole thing, we won't have to right away. It'd be in the middle of the road.
It's not gonna want it closed, I can tell you.
James is not. Monkey's not. But you can probably work that out.
So either way,
That'd be fun.
if it's something you want to pursue, I need a public hearing scheduled, I guess, for the 16th.
Send about the letter.
No, that's not right. So the 16th, we will vote to schedule it 30 days later.
Okay. You can kind of gauge it, see if you guys can positivity for them.
Okay.
But your second option would just be to close at 600 feet.
We just be close.
And then it wouldn't matter.
And then it doesn't
Does it run
involve.
all the way through at one time?
No, yeah, well, it did.
But it did.
It come around by the Fordhams, and it came out right there at the end of the Fordhams, right there close to the river. And the county quit maintaining it, and then that was a lot. I mean, Dennis probably knows, there was a lot of shootings and everything that went on. It got ugly.
So the county road is what now?
408.
408. And, so the resolution would be we'd make a resolution to go forward with the process.
Yes.
So if you'll get that resolution, we can add that for the 16th, just put it on, new business,
Schedule a public hearing for the following commission.
which would be in December. But we'll put this on new business.
New business. What did he buy? He bought that, like, when you turn to go down that section to the,
You know, it's that track right there. And we maintain, that's where we turn around, that's Monkey's driveway right there. So that portion right there is split, and that portion right there goes to just through Stan's property.
yeah, we don't ever go down. Well, now, his, Monkey's house is, we do go down to his house.
We stop, it's right there's Monkey's mailbox, and his house is on the top of it.
Yeah,
But the red
we don't
one,
ever,
sign it to him, that's all.
because he gripes about it.
You have anything else?
The only other thing I have, or if you take one pass, this is kind of back to what Terry said. So since I've been here, my operator 2 position, I've not been able to fill. And recently, my last operator 2 is quit, so I have nobody in that position right now. So what I would like to do, this would be a revised organizational chart. What I'd like to do is basically just get rid of my operator 2 positions. There was 3 of them. So get rid of 3 operator 2s, add 2 rotate 2s, which I have a little better luck filling. And just revise the organizational chart. Budget-wise, this budget, we budgeted $775,000 for it. With this revision, it drops it to $745,592. So it would be a reduction in the budget as well.
745?
745,592 would be the revised. We revised.
So the 2 that you want, you want to do away with 3
Get rid of 3
and do the text.
and add 2 ticks.
Okay?
So there's really no money, just a little bit.
Well, yes, that's just.
Saves, it saves some money.
So the resolution is a reorganized organizational chart, right?
And that's,
Okay, say that again, you said, okay, line 55 and 56, you wanna do away with it?
so no, so I have,
He's already added it there.
yeah, I've already got it added there.
Okay.
So 55, 56, and 57, those 3 operator 2 positions. I would be getting rid of the operator 2 positions,
But you don't have them listed on it.
yeah, which right now I don't have anybody in and haven't been able to fill. And then I would add the rotating one on line 55 and 56, I would add those 2 rotating positions.
Okay. And they're open right now.
Yes, it's all open right now.
That's what it says.
So yeah, it's not, there's no, doesn't affect any employees, there will be positions I could fill.
Y'all want that on new business or consent agenda?
Just cut and dry, I think. There's no way
It's
to
an
find it.
agenda.
Consent, everybody good with consent?
Yep.
Anything else?
I got one more thing.
Okay.
I got one equipment trailer and one utility trailer that I like to surplus and just clean up some stuff we don't use, just ain't sized for us and ain't working. So the utility trailer it's actually environmental. It's that one with the rails around it. It's just bigger than what the ladies need. I'd like to get rid of it and get them something a little smaller that they would actually be able to utilize. And then the other one's one of the equipment trailers that we set in the yard. So,
Equipment, and you'll give us some numbers and all that.
yeah, I'll do all
All
that.
right. So consent agenda, get on that?
And that's just house cleaning, is all it is.
Okay.
I have one more thing also. Crystal had asked if we would put something on the agenda also for some equipment that you'd like surplus, items you can surplus. I can give it to her.
Is that what you want to talk about? So just go ahead. What is it?
Fred and I had started Operation Cleburne Mountain Center, and so the equipment that was already from the downstairs was from the old building. We had a company come out this morning and go ahead and take that. But there are several more computers that I found upstairs in our storage room that I'm going to surplus. They're super easy to deal with. They came right out, super professional, so we like to use those again. But I have a quite lengthy list of just computer equipment that's obsolete. And I was saying this also, the next round that we have to come out, I know there were talk about other departments having some computer equipment. I would volunteer to take over that project and oversee that and get that cleaned up. Like I said, the guys that came out today were super easy. If you guys would like for me to do that, or if anybody has the list, they can get me to do that. And I'll set up a date and have Fred either go get the equipment and bring it here, or have the guys just stop at the locations and go from there. And actually, I could probably get that done before the next meeting and just get it all disposed of at the same time.
Do you have any stuff on?
I might. I will see.
You sent out a letter to the department heads, correct?
All right, so surface equipment, and how do we label that as? It's county equipment. All right,
And it's anything metal. They would take anything, computer equipment, phone system, camera system, anything that's obsolete and that's metal.
It doesn't in that room, though, we got a lot of parts of towers, that's something we want to keep.
Downstairs, we kept everything that we needed to keep.
Okay,
Fred and I went through it piece by piece this morning.
okay.
so consent agenda on this, and she can get a list. All right, and that's covered you, right? Do you have anything else? Anybody have a question with Lee or? Sheriff, you got anything?
Everything right now.
Okay. All right. Mike, I'll let you have the,
All right, I appreciate it.
don't you go over 10 minutes.
I told you, I told you to be about 10 minutes. I'm here in a different position than I'm usually in. I had to make sure I had a day off meeting. If I need anything else to do, I think y'all know that I'm a sales rep for Southern Clean Phones and Radios. And this is my sales manager back here. I called my boss and he said, no, I'm not your boss. But he came in from Birmingham, he covers the central section of Alabama. And I had given each of you some information, and I had given Crystal some information too, about Southern Link and about a dispatch module that we have that could be installed in 911. Now let me just say right off to the sheriff-elect too. We're not trying to replace anything that y'all have now, but you always need a backup. If something happens in Crystal's 911 center to her UHF or VHF radios, she's going to need some way to communicate with somebody. And I'm going to be meeting Sheriff-elect here in a couple of weeks when things slow down for him. Also going to be meeting with the ambulance service, and I'll be meeting with the fire association. If I can ever get on the calendar, he usually calls me. So remind me to do that. But the reason that we think that Southern Link would be so important is our signal here in Cleburne County has improved so much. just like it had in Randolph, Clay, Calhoun. And I know that your county coroner has already invested in Southern Link. One of the sheriff-elected deputies has invested in. There's a lot of things that I have talked to Sheriff Green about. A lot of areas you can't get any other phone service with the exception of Southern. And I had to talk to your engineer about it. He said they had some problems sometimes. And Trickham is a great example. Trickham, we have full service there at Burton's Chapel Baptist Church. And I don't think you can get any more Trickham than that. But we have a tower on Ryan's Mountain over there, or where, yeah, on your mountain over there, where you have it. And I just think it would be good for public safety, the citizens of Cleburne County. You guys talking about these sirens that are not working, people liability. If she were to go down on her VHF and UHF radio system, at least she would have a backup. And I'm going to hand out some brochures to you, and I'm going to let John tell a little bit more about this system, and it can really be worked in different ways. And like I said, we're not here to try to replace what she has or the sheriff has. We just want there to be a backup in the event something major does happen. John?
Yeah, just want to pass this out, Mike. Again, I'm John Levenbacher. I'm a sales guy in Central Florida County, and I'm in Central Florida State, I'm sorry. And I do a lot of work with state EMA, and one of my co-workers works down in Montgomery, and she does a lot of work with the state in general. And so when there's an exercise, and I'll be there tomorrow at the EOC in Clanton, I'm kind of the liaison between all the counties and Southern Link, who are actually the state and their requirements, and Southern Link. We're the primary communication provider for state EMA, and they have the problems that occur, or issues, storms that come in, links what they use. Now, another huge thing is the National Weather Service. So the National Weather Service sends out their alerts. They send them several different ways, but one of them will be over the Southern Link radio. And there's a call group, and just about every county in the state has a Southern Link. And at least one, several counties and commissions and sheriff's departments, they have many Southern Links, and they use it for, and then interoperability piece between the road departments, transportation departments, sheriff's departments, and there can be several different talk groups. The whole county can talk under one talk group. But it's a great way for 911 EMA to get information about weather that's coming in. It's also a great way for 911 EMA to broadcast that information out to all public safety in the county. Now, I think today, we're very early in the process. Not a lot of radios in the county. Now, I think what we would recommend or suggest, or have you look into, would be just getting one Southern Link. It can be a radio. It can be a service that goes on a computer. It can be just it can be an application that goes on your existing iPhone, your existing Android phone. And I suggest that be somewhere with the EMA to be able to get the broadcast from the National Weather Service. I know, John.
We do, we have a means to get that.
And you do, he sends out the chat. So there's definitely ways to get it, but he in particular likes for all counties to be able to be on the list so he can radio them if needed. Because there's times that he feels like, I don't want to speak for John, but that's just him talking to me and the information I get, that he'd like for every county to at least have one where he can see them on a list and try to radio them. That always, I know if you're like me, if you're trying to get anybody, phone call, text, radio call, there's a lot of different ways to get in touch with somebody. But this just adds another layer of communication between state EMA or National Weather Service. And every county in the state's got at least one, except for about 4 or 5 counties. Montgomery, one of them. Cleburne's one of them. Let's see, Scambia's got now said several. Perry didn't have them, they do now. So it's going to be about 2 counties in the whole state that don't at least have one Southern Link radio on that state EMA contact list. And, it's just like I said, it's just another layer of communication that, hope that y'all would consider getting and having that. And like I said, it can be on a computer, it can be on a phone, it can be on an existing iPhone that you have. And it's just an application that you can download. And it's all very inexpensive. We're talking $10 to $20 a month can have just that one line of communication. It just depends on which route you take. So, anyway, if we'd like to see y'all give it a try, Mike's attested to the service in the county. It could be something that grows and grows. It's a great way to communicate and keep that interoperability piece between different departments and different agencies. You can have long conversation about how we can customize and have many talk groups or one big talk group or many small talk groups and one big talk group. We can do a lot of ways that we work with counties and like I say, we're at State EMA, one of their communication systems, obviously there's a ton of them. But for a statewide system, we're in for EMA, we're in for all the state troopers carry a Southern Link. And that's another thing, another piece of that is the ALEA has offered their mutual aid talk groups to go on. Every 911 center in the state can get on the ALEA mutual aid talk groups, which they use. Every state trooper's got a Southern Link portable, and they've got a VHF, UHF mobile in the vehicle. And so they're moving they patch their systems together. So, and they're allowing access for every 911 center to have those mutual aid talk groups in their regions. So that way you can get information and broadcast, however you broadcast it out to public safety. You know, you can keep that same means, but at least you can hear what the troops are doing through a talk group. And that could just be one line of service that resides with, are you your EMA now? Okay. So one line of service, you get those National Weather Service alerts, and they get those in other ways as well. But that just adds another layer for that, and also adds another layer for ALEA to contact the regions about a chase or emergency where you can get that information and send it out to the sheriff's departments.
What's the service at for the north end of the county? Where you were talking about like Gordon Springs or,
We do have coverage in Gordon Springs because the tower is not located in Cleburne County, but it's located between Piedmont and Gordon Springs.
so you do?
Yes, Adam Downs told me, and where is County Road 25? Who has County Road 25?
25 is,
It's in the lower part of the county.
fell towards, Mike can do across.
Oh, okay, all right. He told me that he had called in there the other night, and he had not got into his Southern Link yet. And there was a trooper down there. It was an accident with a death. And he said he borrowed the trooper's cell phone and had clear service. Him down about Mikeyville.
Yeah, because when you get towards, up to the north end of the county, there's no service, Verizon or,
I'll check that out, Laura. Go up 49 and 65.
I mean, you don't have service until you get to the, Gordon Springs Fire Department, and you have to stay right there at the fire department to get phone service at all, until you get into Piedmont, until you get into Calhoun County, at the Flat Bottom, you'll pick up service again.
Yeah.
But there's no, from the time you get to, Jerry Williams, when you get to Camp Creek Church, you lose all service.
Do you have a map that sort of shows Cleburne County where you feel like there is service?
We can get that. I've got it on my laptop here, I pull it up and show you now, but we could certainly.
Or we can go to the link?
Yeah, you go to the webpage and it's, you know how those do, they kind of give you a roundabout idea.
They cover the whole county, they only cover 3 spots.
I mean, I can get you a more specific map, or I can provide you with a couple demo radios.
Yeah.
You know, for whomever I can get you.
I think between the sheriff and the road department,
And the road, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
they're all over the county, they would know more about it, what service is than we do.
They have to rely on.
So we're happy to provide some demo radios to the sheriff's department, whoever would be a good fit to take those around and just use them for a week or 2 or 3. You know, we have that kind of program. Just give you an idea, here's some thoughts I just have on my device. Like this is the public health device. Every hospital's got one Southern Link in it, and that's sort of their emergency plan. You know, to check on hospital beds and what who has availability, and knock on wood, they don't have to use it much, there's a weekly call out they do on Wednesday to try to make sure that their radio's up and working, and they will review, should there be a mass
That's
disaster.
up to EMS, just to be able to say we need to go to Tanner or himself.
Yeah, Tanner's on the list, Tanner's got a southern link in already. But I've got, there's an EMA main talk group, we've got running weather talk group, Huntsville weather, you can see, there's the APH talk group. You can toggle and scan between those as you need to throughout your day. And if we got weather coming in, there's a lot of turn on that weather group.
You gonna try it?
It is, because I'm not selling for something, but we've lost our county radios. We don't, no service whatsoever on them anymore, and so we don't use them. And, I could see us having a couple.
Well, what I'm saying is, right now you have cell phones.
Yeah, that's what we do.
So what I'm saying is, would it be something that this phone here would, if it worked good for you, just swap over this service?
It would work. If it
But
would
then we
work,
really
it's
push sort of what you and the sheriff's department that would want.
right. Yeah, right now, if I send them to Board Springs, till one of them runs by the fire station up there and stops long enough to call me and see what needs to happen, we don't talk all day, so.
Would y'all like to do a few demos, let the sheriff and police see our coverage on it? Because y'all two, you can't come talk to you two anyway.
I don't,
You know?
I don't got two phones, I ain't got three.
But you must be swap one out.
Not working trickle.
When I go to board and out, I have to literally,
Somebody
I
did.
call them before I leave, let them know I'm coming.
Main one I'm thinking about is the sheriff's department and the road
If the
department.
league or the sheriff or something needs them, that'd be fine, I don't think I need one.
Yeah, and there's been times too
To your phone.
that I have heard the ambulance service try to call back on their cell phone, and they didn't have service. And so that's why I'm gonna go talk with Mr. Lambert, about getting a couple, for his on-call ambulance.
Chris, what do you think about this?
I spoke with them a little earlier. To me, it boils down to cost and coverage area. So if they have maps, they can provide us to show the coverage area for Cleburne. We have multiple numerous ways of getting in touch, so that it's not a matter to me of being able to contact the broker agencies when needed. I understand where they're coming from and that it's a good product, but in the end, it's cost and coverage. We've had Southern Link before, and I've spoken with both of them about this, and it's been several years since they did any kind of testing on coverage, but, 5-10 years ago, it was about like AT&T. We couldn't get any
Right.
coverage, and that's why we didn't have Southern Link. So, again, it's cost and coverage area.
Yeah, so I guess my question is, in the road department, and I don't know how many phones the sheriff department has, I'm just saying, let's try a couple of them, if they can train out, I don't want to furnish you two phones, but if these things works better for the road department, the sheriff's department, Borden Springs, or especially in Freedom Valley, because when I get on the phone I have, when I head out that way, there's no service. Until I get to Ramsey.
Do you get that?
I was saying this the other night, I was in Greenville County, and of course, Vince Stiles is police chief and he's pastor there for Chapel. He said, when I get to the church, I have no service, but Patrick has got full service.
Patrick,
No.
he's got one of these, right?
Yes, he does.
Why don't we sort of maybe get with our engineer, and I think, and get with the sheriff and see what they might want
Okay.
to swap out, or just at least go try it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
I'm gonna meet with John second week in November, isn't that right? That's what we've set up, to talk about this situation, because I think, from what I understand, you're at least partially on board with this because of the coverage that we have. And so I'll get him a couple of demos, and we'll get, your engineer a couple of demos, and let y'all try them out. You and I had talked about this before, and, we'll just let him try them out, and then when I, talk with the sheriff-elect, or at that time, I guess he'll be sheriff, officially, still a sheriff-elect, But, I'll get him a couple, and they, you know, of course, one of his deputies already got one, and like I said, the coroner's got one. And, I'll just get him a couple more and give them to his chief deputy or investigator or whatever, and let y'all try out what you're gonna do when I meet you.
And that's step one, I mean, covering the scheme. It doesn't matter what kind of features you got, or how good your push-to-talk works, or how, you know, how fast your data speed is. If you don't have good coverage, nothing else matters. So, you know, we'll get you some demos, and it'll just be one flavor, probably maybe two different kind of phones, and just, the main thing is test the coverage. Can I make a cell phone call? Can I send a text? Does the radio will go through?
Just say, that's all I'm gonna do, is we're gonna load up, and we're gonna go where we ain't got service, and see if we got
Yeah,
service.
and see if you got service. I mean,
You've seen the radios they have, don't you? Sheriff?
Alright, so that's our plan, right? We got a plan.
Okay.
thank y'all.
Thank you. Start with that, then you come back and say it's only $1.
We're
$1 a
bringing-
month or something like that.
The demo?
You gotta remember, he's the chairman. I'll get you a couple of radios, Lee, and, Sheriff, when I come up and meet you, I'll tell you what to do.
Let me see, is there anything else that y'all want to vote on?
Brian, yes, I would like to put on the agenda too, that we, in these sheriffs, where they do not have their steps from A to B as far as a certified deputy moving, from an uncertified moving to a certified, on the, pay that we did, that wasn't in there. That needs to be put in there where they get that additional pay scale when they finish, they get certified.
Okay,
It's not in there.
so you want to make a resolution
I want to make a
tasking
resolution to,
the company that you worked with before, or what?
I'm sorry.
You want to
No,
task,
I think we're
you
supposed-
think you can do
I
it
think we're-
in-house?
I think she should be able to do it just by adding it to it if the commission votes on it.
Yeah.
Because it was oversight that didn't get put in there. And right now, if he has one that's not certified, and then they get certified, there's not a step up.
Right.
Correct?
She thought Jason's already working on
That's what
No,
you're.
he said that had a resolution had to be put on the table for it.
it. Well, no, but he's already working on the resolution, mine.
He's working on it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not, you're asking for this resolution, and he's making the resolution.
I
But
didn't-
if you want to talk to him, but we can, y'all intend to,
Put it on the
add this, or
agenda.
we're gonna have to add anything by the 16th, these other
We need it on
resolutions.
the- By the 16th, it needs to be on there.
Is there 3 other resolutions? Is there 3 other resolutions that we need to add? That I'm not aware of?
There's at least
I don't know either. I mean, there's been an email sent out.
Which resolution did we want?
from Jason.
That's what Jason said.
Which resolution was it on, that we just looked at?
It's trying to give you the resolutions that we've already discussed. Jason sent an email to everyone stating that he would come up with a resolution about the issue where the pay was not approved. And once that was taken care of, then the commission could do a separate resolution for the uncertified certified staff. And then he said, once those 2 resolutions were taken care of, then he would get with the human resources officer and myself about this and that to employees.
Do we need to leave room on the resolution for those?
Yes.
All right, so what would they do? You put them on new business?
So I think he wanted to do fix the problem first and then.
I get his text, but I did not get,
All right,
The email.
no.
Ms. Cobb, Ms. Cobb?
I know, they just.
I'm trying to get this resolution, one resolution is what? To fix,
Why don't we just add them that night? After everybody gets a copy of them from Jason, then we can just add them and then vote on them. How about that?
y'all wanna do that?
I mean, that's, just make things a whole lot simpler, and I think everybody's gonna get it done, so.
Okay.
I just don't think it's gonna be an issue.
All right, we'll just add them now as they come. Hopefully he has them, okay? Anything else that y'all wanna vote on? So you good with that, Ms. Cobb?
I'm good as long as it gets put on there.
Well, it's not gonna be put on there until you add it that night. You good with that?
We'll see that it gets done.
Okay. Anything else?
I keep looking at my notes. Did we ever come up with anything about the sheriff's maintenance agreement? I know we didn't get any bids, but we were supposed to come up with a letter that the sheriff was gonna have to take to,
The sheriff is gonna have to, from what, I understood from Meg, is would be responsible for getting a contract. The contract's actually gonna be between the commission and the entity.
but it's gonna be a
It's actually
contract,
a contract.
just do one shot that he takes.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I don't know, we keep dropping the ball on all this stuff, we need to get that done, we've been working on that for a year.
Can I ask a question on the maintenance stuff? So, like we've had a couple come up,
I gotta go pick up my son, I can't stay no longer.
we've had a couple of situations come up that we've had to take stuff.
Read this for that, that's the agenda for the.
You don't know?
I gotta pick up my son, I gotta go home. Yeah, I guess I'm on this stuff, I get stuff in it. No.
So we've had a couple of trucks come up, and I've had to take to a camp and stuff that we couldn't do, ECM programs and that kind of stuff. So, with their contract, where does that put us with 15,000? Five go 15, right back to the same boat. Even though we're doing a lot of our own stuff, do I need to have one as well just to cover us? Because I probably spent $5,500.
And see what you think that we need to do on that, because if anybody runs over the 15, it's that we're gonna be right back in the same problem again.
And that's what I probably spent $5,500 so far.
Now, that's just on your road vehicles, that don't count off-road, it's not listed in this, right?
That's
Off-road is a sort of separate, unlisted deal.
my heavy equipment, as long as it don't exceed $22,500, I don't have to do anything about it. If I've got one repair that's gonna cost more than $22,500, then I have to bid that one repair out. Other than that, they don't fall in the same category.
I mean, I personally, I actually said this back before we were saying to the sheriff's department, I thought we need to have one, just like we have for fleet vehicle maintenance. I understand that you can do a lot of things, but I still think that the major repairs need to be covered with the contract already.
And I guess that's what I'm getting, it's major repair. We're still gonna change the oil, we're still gonna do brakes and stuff that we can do, but if I've gotta take the customer miles out of the computer program, then nothing to do with it, take the customer miles.
So we need to go through the whole process again and you need to put out bids, and then when you get no bids, then we can do this, because that was the way we could do it for the sheriff, but my understanding from talking to Meg, that was the only legal way we could do it. So, is he gonna, why don't y'all talk to me, and figure out how to do this?
I think maybe county-wide, it's not necessarily a maintenance bid, but like I said, we're still gonna do oil changes and stuff like that. We're just,
Let's see, can we get something done on that by our maintenance system? I'm tired of keeping bringing this crap up. Business license, are we getting any closer on those?
yeah, we made a complete round back in October, so.
Most everybody got
Most everybody had them, or went and got them, and, yeah, we had a pretty good.
Two of them, we good at 205?
Loves came in and got theirs.
What about those?
I didn't check on those, but she did come in and ask about Loves, and I had one of her girls to look, and they did. They got theirs.
Garbage, did you get some kind of estimate on the garbage?
Working on it, so.
So you'll have something out of me.
Maybe promise you yet. I got, me and Mike Gordon working on, it. We're looking at doing a whole, the trucks, the transfer station, the garbage flows, everything. It's gonna be complete. It may still be, it may be January before I really reach something on that. We'll have to get a bigger picture of this stuff.
The drug settlement, $27,000 everything. Okay, is that money, we got to earmark that money? Or we get it?
I think it was basically considered like a reimbursement of expenses that were already out, but that money was because of having state
Most of the SSU people need to do this. I'm gonna be the next 23,000. Support of what this says right here.
They have 1,000 per year, up to 69,000.
That's what I'm saying, but we're looking at 141 if you pay base salaries. And according to what, I don't remember if it was the sheriff or John, somebody said that some of the older deputies want those jobs, so it's gonna be more than that. It's gonna be pushing over 150.
I mean, you got,
No, I'm not talking about the sheriff's way, he's got that structure, I don't have a problem with that. But the problem I got is the Board of Education don't want to pay their share. They only want to give you 69,000 and something's gonna cost us 150,000. But then they turn it around and down here this line where it says, parties agree that they may change the amounts of these payments that will not constitute a new agreement. Which I don't know that you can do that, I'm not a lawyer, but I don't know that you can do that. If that's the case, then let's just change that number right there to 115,000. I mean, why would we agree with that? I mean, there's no use sending this to the attorney without we agree with these numbers. I don't agree with them. I'm just one opinion on it.
I'm ready for it.
Well, I mean, I know you don't want me to read that. I'm just trying to get keep our meeting on task here. Where are we at? Is there anything we need on the agenda to be voted on?
Well, if we don't agree to that, it's no use voting. I'm not gonna agree to that.
Well, no, but you can't agree right now, though.
New business is all over.
It's on new business.
But we go,
What you think?
my point is that we're sending this to the attorney. Well, why we send it to the attorney if we don't even agree with it? What do we give a crap? He agrees with it. And also, I'd like a copy of this thing for the ACCA to me down there too. Which she says, this 5-year deal, she don't agree with the 5-year deal.
Okay.
Well, it's done in here, it's just a 1-year contract.
No, read the paragraph above it. It's a 5-year contract with a 1-year renewal. And she,
But you can come out of it in 30 days.
that's what the point. The point is the attorney told me not to do it. Not to do a 5-year contract.
Maybe.
Yeah, to either do a 1 or a 3, not to do a
We've
5.
never done anything, we stopped doing anything over a 4-year contract, period.
Well, that way, you're gonna have a commission that after we vote on it, they ain't gonna have to say.
Well, let me ask you this, why, and Terry, can you send it, did you get an email, could you send it to me?
Well, I'll be down there tomorrow, I'll hand it to her.
Okay.
And
And but he needs to let her know what he doesn't want, so that she's talking to him individually.
she's been calling me, I've been talking to her. There was a couple of more words she didn't like, well, she hadn't seen this one. But it was just a wording deal on the rest of it.
Yeah.
But, like I said, if we're not agreeing to these numbers, then there's no use paying an attorney to read over it. I mean, they're still back. What's the SST? We're projected 390,000 for this year. That's what it is. Okay. 350 of it went to the pay raises. So to be able to do this, you're going to have to rescind that money and start taking that money out of the general fund.
Well, is that your figure for this year? This coming year?
390, that's what was in the budget, what's estimated. And it's 350 just for the raises. Which I'm not saying we'll take raises, don't misquote me on that, we just have to take the money from somewhere else. But, I mean, I just don't think it's fair. They're not even going to pay half of it, and they're getting over half of the hour.
All right. I mean, I don't know what to tell you where you want to go with this, but I'm just, you want only, we still got it on the agenda for the the time being.
That's fine.
Vote it up and down, I guess, at the time.
At the time you vote on it, if it passes, you also want to have a resolution to change the SSUP money, or you're not going to have the money later.
All right, so November the 16th, 4 o'clock is our meeting. We need to choose our meetings. So we have an agenda, we have something on the new business about changing the meeting times. Think about what sessions do. Looking at ARPA money, consent agenda, water agreement, new business, SRO agreement, that's the new business, right? That's what you're talking about now. Resolution on sirens, $450 a piece, that'll be new business too. Is that what you got? Resolution to go forward closing 408, new business. Resolution to reorganize organizational chart, dang it. Consent? Right, consent on that?
I did want to put that resolution on the table.
What's your
Jason's not the one about the deputies, because Jason does not have it. I
Okay.
was waiting on some information, but, from you, Lisa. And so I want that resolution on the table, so you need to get Jason, for the change in the sheriff's, the deputies, put it in there, the age of the
From
deputies.
uncertified to certified. Consent, it would have to be new business.
We need to fix the other problem before we do this.
And
That's
that,
what both attorneys have told me.
They need to have that ready by then.
well, but y'all said the other day, is he gonna come forward with something to add? Or you said a while ago?
That's, we
Lisa
can
just
pass
needs
it
to
this
be
week.
with them and make
He
sure-
passed?
yeah.
Not in this meeting, not really,
Okay.
not really. I mean,
Can we ask Lisa to make sure he gets what, everything he needs and
Yeah.
come up with those 3 resolutions?
yeah. So we're gonna wait and add at the last minute. You good with that, Ms. Cobb?
What both attorneys I've talked to have said, they're in order that they should be passed.
Okay,
So,
all right. That can be added. All right, so, surplus trailer, utility equipment, consent agenda, surplus equipment, county equipment, consent. I think that's it. Thursday evening, we will have, election school here at 6 o'clock. It'll last about an hour. If any of y'all want to attend that, you can. If you're, on it, you probably don't need to come into our meeting, but you can meet and greet people out here as they come in if you want to.
I figure it's probably inappropriate.
Yeah, it wouldn't be appropriate for you to be in that particular class, but we do have people who will meet and greet coworkers. as they come. I guess that's about it, that's all I can think of.
Where are you gonna have the election here? Here, courthouse?
Courthouse, because there's nothing, very little attendance. So, election, time changes Sunday. It's fall back, and so next week, it'll be dark at 5:30 for sure. Yeah, at lunch. But, the polls work 7 to 7, and we'll have everything back out at the courthouse. We'll close this chapter.
Refreshments?
Huh?
You provide,
Yeah, I'll buy you a Coke if you want to come by. I'll get you a Coke. All right, y'all ready to go home?
Yep.
All right, let's go home. Let's see what that helicopter's about. I think they're looking for Lee.
looking for, I'm trying to help that.